Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. In case you're wondering where this is from, well, I was a little bit too forceful, shall we say, with my trousers. So now, just like Keir The Traitor Starmer's career, my trousers are basically being held up by a thin elastic band. So there you go. I am now stuck with these trousers barely being held together. But hey, you can't say I can't jury rig this shit because they're still holding up. But don't worry, I have a spare pair at home. Probably like 50 sizes too big, but hey ho, it is what it is. But of course you didn't come here to find out I've got the wrong trousers. This time I want to focus on addressing some concerns over my last video. So understandably, there were a few people who were saying they doubt that it was suicide that killed Peter Lynch and saying it was murder. Well, technically Keir The Traitor Starmer definitely has murdered Peter Lynch. Of that, there can be no equivocations. He was effectively murdered by Keir The Traitor Starmer and a judiciary. Sorry, no, not even a judiciary. A judge. Which I know I read up a bloody article on the name of this fucking judge. This vermin that inhabits our court system. But I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But he effectively sentenced this man to 2 years plus in prison. And because of that, well, we all know what the prisons are predominantly made up of. The vast majority of these prisons are dominated by Muslim gangs. People who effectively will intimidate you and scare you. Because when you go to jail, I've mentioned it before, as has Tommy Robinson, that when you go to jail, you got one of two choices. Convert to Islam or fight for your life. Now, a patriot like Peter Lynch, well, I highly doubt he would have willingly converted to Islam. I know I sure as shit wouldn't, and we certainly know Tommy Robinson wouldn't. But the cold bitter truth is, if he was sent to a predominantly Muslim prison, where the population is mostly Muslim people in prison, I can practically guarantee you they would basically attempt to kill this man because they believe him as kafar, kafuffle, kafir, whatever you want to bloody call them. Just as I am a dirty kafir, kafar, kafuffle, whatever. That is the way Islam looks at us. So it stands to reason why some people would say that he was murdered. And when you think about it, it makes sense. It's not like the lefty NPCs who just pull stories out of their arse. And now you know why they're called brown books. Anyway, it's not like the left where they pull these stories out of their arse. It is a very, very feasible argument because Islam basically attacks or intimidates or coerces cooperation from other people. That's why I say that when people go to jail in a predominantly Islamic prison or Islamic populated prison, they have two choices, as I said. They either convert to Islam or they basically spend every day fighting for their lives. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me. It doesn't suit the narrative. Hell, we already had, when Tommy Robinson was sent to HMP Hull and HMP Onley, there were wankers who were quick to step up and say, oh, that's not fundamentally true. Yet when he went to HMP Onley, that prison had about 31 or 32%, give or take 2%, a 32% Muslim population. And they tried to sell the spiel of, we are a prison with a large diverse population. No, you're a prison with a large Muslim population. And I wonder, what prison was Peter Lynch sent to? Because you know what? I think we should get some statistics. I think we should figure out how many Muslims were in the prison he went to. And if it is anything other than a smallish minority, like 5-10% say, then I believe fundamentally it would stand to logical argument and reason that he was sent to a prison that would intimidate him through the Islamic gits that are in there in an attempt to make him fear for his life or intimidate him so bad that he ultimately hung himself. Now, obviously, this is speculation for the time being, but it does stand to reason we should investigate this. We need a discerning eye put upon the prison that Peter Lynch was sent to. And if they won't give us the information publicly, then we need to put in a freedom of information request. Because I guarantee you for this much, there are hundreds of thousands of people who will indubitably want the truth. They will want information. They will want, as said, the truth on where he went and was that prison a predominantly Muslim populated prison. The sad thing is, I know there are going to be some NPCs, maybe some Islamic hate preachers themselves in the comments who will say, I'm a racist and an Islamophobe. But I've already made quite clear, there is no such thing as Islamophobia. It is merely a word the left and Islam like to use to shut down debate. And as far as racism is concerned, just like if I were to preach negatively against Christianity, you can't be racist against a religion. But then that's something the mainstream media won't want to tell you, because they don't like that thing that we hold called facts. They would rather sell some bullshit story that they conjure up out of their ass to say, oh, you're wrong. But then, as they say, if you have nothing to fear, you have nothing to hide, then you have nothing to fear. So if it isn't public information already, let's have some stroke number one. Let's have some statistics on what prison he went to. Like I said, if you have nothing to hide, mainstream media, Keir the Traitor Starmer, show us the statistics. Show us you really have nothing to fear. Or are you secretly looking under your bed every night for the likes of me or Tommy Robinson? I guess only time will tell on that shit. But then, as far as other things that people have said are concerned about, I should watch myself. Does it terrify me, the prospect of me going to jail? Oh yeah, 100%. It scares me. Because it could destroy my life. I fully accept that. I unequivocally accept that if I go to jail, my life probably goes up in smoke. Just like that. But you know what? It doesn't stop me from doing this. You know why? Because the truth is far more important. You see, I don't really care if I die within the next 6 to 12 months. Couldn't fucking care less. And I know my family members, if they watch this, will be absolutely weeping over that. But that's the cold, bitter truth. My life is insignificant. But the people who have children, their lives are much more important, because they will bear the fruits that will spring about a new harvest in the future. They are the people who will ensure that we actually have a decent society, not these barbarians from their third world shitholes that are coming in from their dinghies or wherever, or have come in via their parents illegally and then are born into our country with intolerant views and an intolerant society. No, I mean, we will have a proper society filled with gentlemen, gentlewomen, or maybe not so gentle women and men and what have you, but they will have good conduct about them. They'll have good conduct, good spirits, good integrity. They'll have everything going for them. Islam and these illegal immigrants have about as much going for them as my chances of going to the moon in a rocket. They have nothing. They, in most cases, they are a leech. They're a parasite that clings on to whatever they can attach themselves to, and then basically drain the life force out of the country. But these are the people that Keir the Traitor Starmer has sworn allegiance to. I accept that I am probably one of the primary targets to go to prison, especially when this hair goes, unless the polls say otherwise. Because right now, I think when I last checked, it was like 55% want me to cut the hair and 45% want me to keep the do. But I digress. I am probably a big target. I have probably got a target as big as Tiger Stadium right now on my back. But you know what? Doesn't faze me at all. And I know there are going to be some people who say, oh, you're just talking a big game. Oh, you're just talking that and you're probably going to be a scaredy cat. No, I don't care anymore. I really don't. I have no care in the world for my safety, quite frankly. Because the cold, bitter truth is, you can't keep mollycoddling people into not doing anything. Because that leads to apathy, and apathy leads to death. Especially the death of this country. So I understand why people are concerned about me. Basically, be careful what I say and what have you. I don't give a fuck. Keir the Traitor Starmer could literally come knocking at my door with the force. Just like that. I'm not going to flinch. I'll be recording it all the way. I'm English till I die. I know I am. I say I am. Or is it I think I am, I know I am. I'm English until I die. There are also people who say that I am a loose cannon. They think I'm a loose cannon. Let me tell you something. That video that I did yesterday, where I was ranting my head off, that one is being very kind right now to Keir the Traitor Starmer compared to what I was doing when I was walking down from over yonder. Sorry, my thing, over yonder. I was literally shouting my fucking head off in the middle of the street. My anger was through the roof. I would probably say I'm surprised I didn't burst a blood vessel in here. I'll just do that in a couple of months' time when I'm playing XCOM and I keep getting screwed over on 1%. Anyway, I could have burst a blood vessel without shit. The truth is I didn't. And the bottom line is, I could have been a lot angrier with Keir the Traitor Starmer, and I still am bloody fuming with him right now, because of obviously what he's done with Peter Lynch. Like, my face went completely red when I was speaking about Keir the Traitor Starmer on the way home. So, if you thought I was angry then, you should be thankful that I didn't upload the other video, which I accidentally cut off because I hit one of the buttons down below. But the bottom line is, I could have been way worse on Keir the Traitor Starmer. He should be thankful I've shown such restraint. And as I've said before, and I will say again, Keir the Traitor Starmer should be thankful he hasn't had a violent revolution already. And let me be clear, as I've always done, without fail, I am never going to condone violence against our Prime Minister. I am never going to condone sorry, this. Oh, Jeremy, I'm going to be sent flying in a minute. Anyway, he should be thankful that a revolution hasn't broken out, because quite frankly, these people, they could have done so easily. We have the numbers. We could easily overthrow the government. We could easily take out the trash, metaphorically speaking, and place it in the dustbin of history. I'm not going to condone it or advocate for it, but they could have done so. They could have taken over Parliament just like that, because we are numerous. There's only about 650 MPs in the Houses of Treachery, I mean Parliament. Or maybe I was right first time. There are only so many MPs out there. There are only so many police officers out there. Do you really think you're going to stop hundreds of thousands of people? Remember the English Revolution, where they decided they'd had enough? The peasant tax revolts of the 18th century. That's the thing, people could easily take care of this problem if they decide they had the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, to actually do something about it. These people have been extremely restrained, probably too restrained, I would say. I think if we were back in, I don't know, the 13th or 14th century, us Lionhearts, we would have taken over in an instant, long before Keir the Traitor Starmer could do any damage to this country. The anger I had on the way home, think of the previous video, but magnify it by a factor of 10. That's how angry I got. And Keir the Traitor Starmer should be thankful I haven't completely opened up the full force of my oral wrath on him. Because if I started shouting, Keir the Traitor Starmer would no longer exist. The shell of the man that he is now would be replaced with a cardboard cutout. He would permanently go into hiding. Because people like Keir the Traitor Starmer, they're not leaders, they're cowards. If you stuck them on the front lines of a war, the first direction they'd be running is the opposite direction. They wouldn't want to lead on the front lines, they'd be running back to Westminster. Because they haven't got the guts to make the really tough decisions, not the so-called tough decisions, the hard decisions that Keir the Traitor Starmer likes to think he's making. The only hard decision he ever makes is whether he does it in bed or out of bed, if you catch my drift. Whether he screws us or decides he's going to screw us even harder than he normally does. That's the cold, bitter truth. We are all Peter Lynch now. As I said, if I had a fire in me before, the suicide of Peter Lynch has now turned it into an inferno. And Keir the Traitor Starmer will get burned because he has most definitely played with fire for way too long. The classic FAFO scenario. The more he fucks around, the more he's going to find out. The more he's going to find out that we, the British people, will no longer stand by and tolerate his treachery against the British people. He has blood on his hands, as I've said before. That there can be no question of a doubt on. Blood on his hands, and it could be thousands more this coming winter. I reckon something big's going to happen within the next, I'd probably say 1 to 4 months. Some people say 6. I think that's being generous. I think in the next 1 to 4 months tops, something massive's going to happen. Something massive to remove Labour from power. As I said, I'm not going to advocate for or condone a violent revolution, but I will completely understand if some of these people decide to go down that route. I can't wholly blame them anymore, because what happens when you back a rat into a corner? Even a cornered rat will show its fangs if pushed. But in this case, it's not us as rats. We are the bear, the Russian bear, ironically, that they keep poking with a stick. And if they keep doing so, they're going to find out just how angry and just how ferociously the British people will fight to reclaim this country. I've said before and will say again, we need a bare minimum of 250,000 people up at Victoria Station and ultimately Downing Street on the 26th of October. I've already made my plans. It's just a matter of how exhausted am I going to be, because I'm also doing Wi-Fi wars on the Friday. So, you know, if I come up there, I'm like, don't worry, I haven't turned into a zombie. It's just I'm exhausted because of the gaming I've been doing, that's all. But in the description below, I will be linking a stream that I think it was Obscure Gamers actually put out, basically of what happened with Wi-Fi wars. Essentially, you have a phone, you sign up to whatever through airplane mode and what have you, and the Wi-Fi wars, whatever. You sign up, put your name in, red versus blue team, you play a whole bunch of games, such as Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Defender, just trying to name a few more off the top of my head, Pong, Track and Field, like there's all sorts there, and I'm going to be doing that all Friday evening as well, so yeah, I'm going to be bloody exhausted when I come to London, let me tell you. But as for Keir the Traitor Starmer, this is no game. You're playing with the lives of innocent British people now. There is no way anybody can say that you haven't got blood on your hands anymore. Nobody in their right mind will say that you are worthy of running this country now, Keir the Traitor Starmer. The only people who may say it are the people who are brainwashed. The people who literally have that shit spoon-fed to them by the BBC or Channel 4. Speaking of Channel 4, I heard that they put out a documentary about the so-called right-wingers, or far right, the political right wing or some shit, trying to say how we're all far right and racist and violent and all that. And I will probably be going into that. If I find this documentary, I will see what the big deal is with this. And then I am going to tear them a fucking new arsehole. Because quite frankly, they deserve it. The bottom line is, I can turn it down a bit, but I'll keep God, some people these days. But anyway, the bottom line is, these people, Keir The Traitor Starmer, and Channel 4, and all the mainstream media, they need to be told what's going on. We're not tolerating their crap anymore. We're not tolerating any more of this. We are not going to allow people to be dictators to us, the British people, while they kill innocents. We're not going to allow that anymore. We've had enough. We don't want it. We don't need it. We certainly don't deserve it. And the way I look at it, I think people do need to pay for this. 100%. I think Keir The Traitor Starmer needs to be hauled in front of the courts and made to pay for his crimes against humanity, for his crimes against the British people, for his crimes of fraud they committed when he decided to put Lord Ali's mansion as his residing address instead of his actual address. Because why should he get away with this when he's allowed killers and rapists to go free, while he persecutes political prisoners like Lucy Connolly and Peter Lynch? Why? There is no justification in the world that can justify persecuting people who have done nothing wrong, aside from Lucy Connolly saying, set the migrant hotels on fire. If only she had said, set the hotels on fire without the migrants in, then she'd be fine. But they persecuted Peter Lynch for no reason. Political prisoner, malicious intent. They sentenced him to jail because they bullied him into a guilty plea. I wonder what the left wing would be like if the shoe was on the other foot. I wonder what they would be like if some of their MPs or some of their speakers were sent to prison for having a peaceful protest. Because that's what Lynch was, well, essentially lynched for. He was sent to prison specifically for doing things within his rights. He didn't get violent, he didn't attack the police, he didn't say anything racist, he didn't say anything derogatory other than calling asylum seekers, aka illegal immigrants, child killers. Because the cold bitter truth is that these people from Rwanda, legal or no, they've come to this country, and a lot of these people that come to this country are either here to sponge off benefits, commit crime, or they basically want to destroy our country and turn it into the same third world shitholes that they've come from, basically. That's the cold bitter truth, whether people want to accept it or not. These people are coming over to destroy us. And he called them child killers. Which is basically fact. A lot of these people are coming out of their countries to come and violate and kill our children. Anybody going to argue against that? Of course, most people won't, unless they're completely deluded and brainwashed. That's the cold bitter truth on the matter. The only people who are going to justify these people coming over, killing and raping our children, are the people who condone this kind of thing in terrorism. Thank you. There we go. Dear me. But that's the thing. A lot of these people in the left will not accept the fact that there are people who have come over pretending to be asylum seekers who have basically gone out of their way to violate our people and our country and our cultures. The only people who will deny that are the deluded or the ignorant. But Keir The Traitor Starmer would rather have us open our arms and our asses and let us get royally screwed by illegal immigration or Islam, one or the other. They don't want to let us have control of our borders. They would rather sink our country. They would rather see it that our civilization we spent 2,000 fucking years building up is destroyed. And you know what? Last time I checked, I've got English blood. And I'm not going to let that fucking happen. And as I've said before, and we'll say here again, I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I'm not going to mince my words. I will say it exactly how it is. And I will do my best not to bullshit you. Because the bottom line is, this country is in danger. Whether people want to accept it or not, that's their choice. And they're welcome to it. Just don't come to me saying, I should have listened. Because remember that old conspiracy theory thing? Was, I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are, told you so. We are all Peter Lynch now. Indubitably. And you know what? As I said, if I lose my life in the next 6 to 12 months, you know what? I don't care. I really don't. We have a war on our hands. Though it's not as black and white as World War II and I, where the Nazis did whatever they did. Or Hitler invaded Poland. It's not as black and white as that. It is slowly starting out as a stealth war. But we know about it. Or at least those who don't choose to be asleep in the Matrix. They choose to take the red pill and educate themselves. Keir the Traitor Starmer thinks he can import his own little army of illegal immigrants. Well, do you think they're going to stop us? Do you honestly think your stormtroopers or your illegals that you're importing over here, the third world, do you think they're going to stop English Lionhearts? Answer that question truthfully. Because I don't think they're going to allow this shit. I don't think the British people are going to let our roll over and let you rub our stomachs like that. Not going to happen. We're going to take you to task, Keir the Traitor Starmer, on the 26th of October. Mark my words. And if I'm up on stage, oh, the houses are going down. The houses will crumble at my oral annihilation I will do of you. You will fall apart, just like that. Because I don't think you can stand up to real English men and women, if you even know what a woman is, telling you as it is what you are. A liar, a fraud, a traitor, a sectarianist bastard, and a parasite, just to name a few. You, Traitor Starmer, are in for a whole world of metaphorical hurt when we come down on the 26th of October. Don't you worry, I'll be able to control myself on the 26th of October. Doesn't mean I can't give a little bit of fire. Doesn't mean I can't be like a Welsh dragon and breathe that fire over Keir the Traitor Starmer. Verbally, of course, not physically. I wish I could breathe fire, but hey-ho, that'll never happen. I could cook my own kebabs then. Anyway, I know for a fact I'll be able to control myself. The rest is down to you lot and Tommy Robertson. But let's get down there on the 26th of October and make sure that the 26th of October, much like the 5th of November, is a day that Keir the Traitor Starmer will never, ever forget.